Hello and welcome back to Facetly. My name is Amber and I am so thankful and so pleased that you were able to join with me today. This is a channel where we talk about all things women, but we're not just for women. And I am back on the perimenopause train because I think it is so important. And I know I've beaten this drum before, but I just want to make sure that there is this understanding. When I say perimenopause, I'm actually using it kind of as a blanket term for midlife hormonal fluctuations. But there are actually three primary stages that involve perimenopause. There's the perimenopause journey, and this is when you might be having symptoms of your hormones fluctuating, and we'll be talking about a lot of those on this channel, but you're still having periods. Um, the menopause point is the one day where you haven't had a period of any kind, not a light period, not spotting, nothing like that, for one full year. So on that 366th day after that year is over, that is menopause, that one single day. And then every day after that is going to be postmenopause. Now, throughout this entire time, whether it's perimenopause, whether it's that one day of your menopause, or postmenopause, which will be the rest of a woman's life, she can be experiencing any of these symptoms that we talk about on this channel. So please forgive me. I'm going to try and remember to say midlife hormonal changes instead of just saying perimenopause so that, I can make sure that those who really do understand those three different phases won't just look at the word perimenopause or hear the word perimenopause and think, oh, this video is not really for me. They probably won't, because if they've already hit menopause and they're in postmenopause, they understand this stuff it's real in these streets, okay? Now, again, I'm going to go through my disclaimer. I'm not a doctor. I am not a mental health professional. I am just a woman in these hot, heated, moist, humid perimenopause streets. And I'm saying this because it's starting to get warm outside and I'm not very happy. But anyway, moving on. So today I really want to talk about the fatigue that comes along with, for a lot of women, for this period of midlife hormonal fluctuation. This fatigue, it is debilitating for a lot of us. I mean, this past weekend, I'll start here with my own personal story. This past weekend was Easter weekend, so this is Monday, the day after Easter. And I had been promising my mom a German chocolate cake, a homemade German chocolate cake, since her birthday last year. I have never gotten around to doing it, but I thought to myself, you know what? This will be my contribution to the family dinner. We go over to my parents' house and we all have dinner together. And so I told her on Thursday that, oh, I'm going to make that German chocolate cake for you. And she was so excited. My poor mama. Because guess what? Thursday, I was like, no, it's too soon to make it because we're going over there on Sunday. Didn't do it on Thursday. Friday, I was like, well, I could make the cake today and then wrap it up so it'll be nice and moist, and then, make the frosting on Saturday. And so, it'd be like, didn't do that. Saturday came, and obviously we're getting close to, Easter's the next day at that point. But I was exhausted. I had no emotional or mental strength and energy left. So I said, you know what? I had my butter sitting out. I had enough eggs. I had all the goods. And so I was like, okay, let me just leave them on the counter because maybe I'll get up early enough on Sunday morning and be able to make the cake in time to take it over to her. Y'all, by 11 o'clock, I was on the Walmart app looking for a German chocolate cake. Now, here's the thing. I wasn't going to fool my mom with this cake because, she would know. She knows the difference. But it was just like, I knew that she was all excited and she was ready for this German chocolate cake. And I felt so bad because I couldn't give it to her. But I was proud of myself because I did actually recognize I did not have the capacity to do that. Okay, now part of that is my ADHD, wait until the last minute until it's just like, oh, do it, do it, do it, do it. But it was also that perimenopause or menopause, midlife hormone change, okay, fatigue. Now, why does this happen? And again, this is not for every single woman. And there's also, people who do feel this fatigue in varying degrees. Some women it may not be that bad. For other women, it's going to be like, just roll me around. If you need me for something, push me around in a hospital bed because I ain't getting up. That's it, that's all. But the way that I look at it in my mind is kind of like with little kids. And, whether it's infants or toddlers, preschoolers, and how we love to have them take a nap. And they need their naps. They'll start to get cranky, they're exhausted. Their little brains and their little bodies are adjusting to everything that is changing for them. And especially with their brains, they are, learning and they're taking in and absorbing so much information. And they're, it can be overwhelming. So they have to take that break. They've got to take that nap and get that rest. And believe it or not, we are in that point of life to where our bodies are changing as well. Mentally, our minds, our brains are literally changing and they're adjusting to a different type and different level of estrogen. And also, they're adjusting to different levels of progesterone and testosterone. And again, for women, every single cell in her body is affected by these hormones. And so, this is a major, major overhaul for any woman in midlife. So, I also wanted to kind of go into what is happening with our bodies because obviously we're not toddlers. So, we got to move on. So, I have my notes and I'm going to grab my notebook. Essentially, the primary hormones that we're looking at in perimenopause, menopause, midlife hormonal changes are estrogen and progesterone. So those two hormones in women, they do affect our neurotransmitters in our brain. And so those neurotransmitters, they are, for estrogen, for example, they affect our mood. They affect our ability to be motivated to do something, and also our energy levels. And so, for a lot of women who maybe were diagnosed with ADHD later in life, I believe, honestly, I believe, this is just my opinion, that those hormone fluctuations that we're having, especially the ones that are affecting our motivation to accomplish things, because those hormones are shifting and they're dipping and they're dropping, we're losing that motivation. So we may have been able to kind of motivate ourselves to do things in the past, but now it's becoming more difficult. And the same is true for, just being able to manage our energy levels. These hormones are dropping, they're affecting our energy levels. And so, therefore, our body is kind of, trying to navigate and readjust to everything that's going on. Now, also hormonally, the progesterone, is also dropping. And progesterone is a really important hormone that helps us to manage anxiety and help us to manage stress and alleviate stress. But another big thing that it does, outside of helping us with our menstrual cycles, is it will allow us to kind of shift, calm down, and get shifted into rest and into sleep. With those hormones dropping, our sleep is just, it's hit or miss a lot of times for a lot of us. Now, in addition to that, we have just the lack of sleep, like I was just talking about. Obviously, if you don't get enough rest and it continues to compound day after day after day, you're going to have a whole lot less energy and a whole lot less focus. So if you imagine, you're at work or you're trying to think through and trying to focus on process things for whatever it is, if your brain is tired, it's going to be that much more difficult for you, and it's going to cause your brain to become even more mentally fatigued. You might even have some anxiety creeping up, stress levels are creeping up, and so therefore it's just like, It's a never-ending cycle, it seems like, with this situation. Then we have stress, and we know lack of sleep can cause stress, but also um, our progesterone, like I said before, it helps us to manage our stress and our anxiety. With those levels dropping, the the stress levels are impacted a little bit more for a lot of women. We may be more anxious. Little things that maybe didn't stress us out before are stressing us out. Maybe we used to be like the ultimate multitasker, and nothing fazed us, but now it's just like you see, I don't know, a bag of chips, and it's not your favorite chips, or somebody ate your chips, and you're just like, you're either ready to rage, maybe you're ready to cry, you're just ready to just fly off to some just private island somewhere and take all of your chips with you. And I'm not saying this because I've ever felt like that. Moving on. The disruption of cortisol rhythms, actually, because cortisol is the stress hormone. The more stress we have, the more cortisol is just kind of flowing through our bodies. But the hormone levels, like I said, they help to manage and balance those cortisol rhythms. And so we can get to that point to where we're feeling almost like a toddler again that hasn't gotten enough rest. You're overtired. So you're really tired, but you really can't force yourself into getting that sleep or that rest that you really desperately need. Turning the page. More notes. And I had mentioned before in one of my videos where I was talking about products that I like in terms of helping me with these midlife hormone changes is blood sugar levels. Now, there are a lot of women who in midlife, because of the hormone changes and because of how that impacts our blood sugar, they may develop type 2 diabetes in midlife. Maybe they were fine all these years, and now all of a sudden, here it is. So what's interesting though is, and I got this information from a website I'm actually going to link in here. I'm not sponsoring, I'm not recommending this particular doctor. I don't know who she is, but I found her information to be really, really helpful, and her website might have a lot of information and help for you guys as well. But she was talking about how the mitochondria is impacted. Now, for those of you who remember from biology or life sciences back in elementary and middle school, the mitochondria is what was that? The powerhouse. Yes, the powerhouse of the cell. That's right. I know you got that. If you had a brain fog moment, that's okay. I know you knew it. It was in there. It was like right there at the tip of your tongue, huh? I got you. Got you, girl. But what happens is, because the mitochondria is impacted, it's not able to produce the energy that is needed to help the cells properly function. And we also know that every single cell in the body has its own mitochondria. Mitochondria, I don't know what the singular or plural is for that, whatever. But because the mitochondria does not have access to the amount of energy and the way to process it that a lot of women need to be able to continue to have their cells functioning normally and to get that energy that they need, it's just, they're drained. It's just, they just can't do it. And finally, we also have chronic stress. We've been talking about stress all throughout this video, so I don't need to keep harping on it. But in midlife, a lot of things are changing for us. If we have children, we've got adult children now probably. Or even if we do have children, which, oh, blessings to you. Trying to manage, maybe children who are either toddlers or going through these developmental stages while you are also going through your own developmental stage of midlife hormone changes. It's difficult. It's difficult. My kids are adults. They're actually going to be 28 years old this month, the end of this month. And, I don't have to do as much as I used to But I have grandchildren now, and currently they are living, my son and his family, they're living with me and supporting me, helping me do a lot of stuff in this house while I'm unemployed. And it's, wow, I don't have the energy like I used to. That ain't there anymore. That is just like, that's gone. It's out the door. But the chronic stress, life is lifing. We've got aging parents. We have, a lot of you have challenging careers, just things that are going on just around you, whether it's, I don't know, friendships. It could be things you're seeing in the news. I mean, I'm not going to talk about the news. I have a different channel for that one. But there's stress all around us. And so if you imagine the stress, and that stress is also being compounded by the changes that your body is going through. Maybe you don't know what's happening to your body. Maybe it's really frustrating because things you used to be able to do so easily, so simply, without a second thought, are now just like seeming to feel impossible. It's that stress compounds, and it just adds on to that emotional and mental fatigue that a lot of us will feel during this time of life. So I hope this video was eye-opening for a lot of you. And if you're not a woman and you're watching this because you have women in your life who are going through this or will be going through it, it's first off, thank you so much, because that really means a whole heck of a lot to whatever women are in your life. It's so super important to learn this information, whether you're, going through it, never gone through it, never gonna go through it, or whatever it is. But yeah, this is really, really important stuff. And so I really look forward to having a lot more videos talking about these midlife hormonal changes. And I pray that it helps you. So just understand when your mind is telling you, yeah, girl, you got this, you could do this. And your body is just like, girl, if you don't sit yourself down somewhere like an angry mother, just sit y'all know. Listen to the body. The body is actually giving you signals that you need to rest a little bit. Now, I know we can't rest all the time, but take care of yourself. That's going to be my big overarching theme for this particular series. So I love y'all. I hope you're having a beautiful day. And eventually, when I make that German chocolate cake, I'll take a picture. I'll post it. I don't know when it's gonna. It ain't happening today either. I'm just saying. But love y'all. Have a great day, and I will see you in the next one. All right. Bye bye.